Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to some more Borderlands 2. Today I'm going to be showcasing a few more of the pearlescent weapons that I didn't showcase last week, and next week I'm going to be finishing it off, and I'm also going to be showcasing some of the E-Tech relics. So first up we've got the Bearcat, and this is probably the worst weapon of all of the pearlescents. I'm going to put that out there. Sorry if I've offended anyone who sort of thinks that it's the best weapon since sliced bread, even though sliced bread isn't really a weapon, but I think you guys get the drift. And what I do when I try to get these clips is I go through an area, I try and kill as many enemies as quickly as possible with the weapon that I'm showcasing, and this weapon, not really very ideal. This is pretty much the best clip I could come up with, and then, you know, it's one of those items that goes in the bank, and it doesn't really see daylight again, but as you can see, it's a dial, so it does sort of fire in a burst, and the burst is a 3-round burst, as per usual with dial. Not really very useful if you're firing grenades, because this is a cannon weapon. As you can see, it's got the cannon barrel. A lot of the time with the grenades, they do come back and roll back to you, and they damage your shield. If you're using the B shield, for instance, you're not going to get that amp damage, and it's going to be pretty counterproductive. So overall, not really very useful at all. As you can see, it's taken me quite a long time to deal with this Marauder. Usually you can deal with these guys pretty quickly with just about any other weapon in the game. But this one, not really very useful. I sort of fire it at the floor in front of them in a sort of desperate hope that the projectiles are going to fire forwards, but it doesn't always work. But next up, we've got the Avenger, and this is actually a pretty good weapon. It's got a few good uses. Overall, it's a pretty good weapon. It's a good weapon sort of standardly. Very accurate. The reload speed is very good as it's a TDR. And, you know, just overall, quite a good weapon. And when you do reload it, it does sort of fires off a boomerang effect. It sort of spins along the floor, shooting projectiles around in a circle, which I thought is quite cool. It's quite a nice little touch that they can sort of program that in at this sort of late stage of the game. So overall, quite a cool weapon. You're going to see me showcasing it on the bunker, which, by the way, is still very glitchy, as you're going to see at the end of this clip. And as you can see, it's very sort of accurate. I'm getting those critical hits pretty much every single shot. And overall, pretty nice weapon, And as you can see, when I do reload it, it sort of spins around sideways. It goes onto its side and sort of spins around, firing projectiles just all over the place. Overall, not really that useful of a reload. Not many of those shots actually hit. But I don't know, it's quite cool, quite a sort of novelty item. But overall, this is probably one of my favourite of the pearlescents. It's got more uses than the other sort of pearlescents of that tier. And overall, I quite like it. But anyway, as you can see, it's made pretty quick use of the bunker. He's taken off pretty much all of his health in his first sort of run. And now he does this sort of special second run where, I don't know, does he do this for everyone? He sort of flew underneath the bit where he usually flies. And as you're going to see in a second, he does glitch out and get stuck to the side of the building. I don't know how many times they need to patch this guy to make him actually work, but I'm guessing it's probably going to be quite a long time until he's actually fixed. But anyway, you're going to see in a second, he gets stuck on the building. There you go. There you go. Who's seen that before? I certainly have, plenty of times. And that's probably one of the reasons why farming for the sham is so annoying and so difficult, because this guy glitches all the time, so you never really know if he's going to drop it anyway, and when he does die the way he's meant to die, you know, it's pretty hard to get the item anyway. But anyway, moving on, next up we've got the Stalker, and this item, it's not too bad. It's not an Infinity, it's not a Kablaster, it's not an Unkempt Herald rather. It's okay. It's not the best item in the game. The damage is alright. As you can see, the recoil is pretty violent. It's pretty much just shakes you all over the screen. And as you can see with the rounds, they do sort of fire off, and when they fire off, they sort of bounce off objects, which is pretty similar to sort of a few of the E-Tech items in the game, where I think it's the sniper rifles. When you fire the actual bolt, it sort of bounces off stuff, and it's kind of cool, but the damage is okay. I've got the ×2 version, so it fires off two rounds at once, and as you can see here, it makes pretty short work of that constructor. I'm not sure if that's because I'm hitting his critical or if it's Boar going through one of his turrets or something, but overall, it's not a bad weapon. As I said, it's not an Infinity pistol. There's not really too many uses for it. It does use ammo extremely fast. which isn't really ideal. And one thing I actually forgot to mention about the Avenger, the submachine gun, is that it sort of reloads your ammo. So every second you get a round in the clip, not in the clip, but in the pool of ammo, so to speak. So the Avenger, again, that's another positive for it. But the Stalker, again, not really that useful. Probably one of those items that's going to go in the bank and probably won't see the light of day again. But yeah, quite a cool novelty item again. I'm getting the impression that with the Pearlescents, they're sort of just making them to be sort of novelty items. Pretty much when they make anything that's too powerful, people tend to complain, which is a shame because Pearlescents are meant to be rarer than Seraph items. They're meant to be more powerful than legendary items. And so far they've been a little bit of a letdown. They've not been sort of boss killers or anything like that. But anyway, moving on, we've got the Unforgiven, last but not least. And this is probably one of the worst items in the game. Again, it's like a Jacobs. It's a Jacobs revolver. And the thing about Jacobs items is they're meant to fire as fast as you can pull the trigger. But as you can see in the text, it says, but not too fast. And it really does mean that. It doesn't fire that fast at all. There's about, I don't know, half a second in between each shot, which is it's not really that ideal if you want to dispatch enemies quickly. I don't know what the real use for it is. Apparently it's got a sort of hidden times 500 critical multiplier. I don't know how true that is because I don't really use it too often. It doesn't really have too many uses, but if you want to shoot down some sort of surveyors or something like that, then you know, it might be a good weapon for that. But aside from that, not too useful. But anyway, guys, that's pretty much the end of the video. Next week, as I said, I'll show off the E-Tech relics, and they seem to be the best sort of thing that's come from the latest patch. But aside from that, I hope you enjoyed the video, guys, and I'll see you for the next one. Peace out.